Hey everybody, it's April. They thought they knew you. They thought that everything they heard about you and everything they assumed about you was real and true. And because of that, they never asked you much of anything, and you got treated unfairly at a lot of times because the person was treating you like what they and who they thought you were when you aren't even that person. It's sort of like how if somebody robs a bank, after that, everybody obviously will think that they're untrustworthy and that they are a thief, right? And so they will guard their assets when that person is around, and they will treat them in such a way to keep them from taking anything from them illegally, right? That's how you were treated. You were treated like a suspect. You were treated like somebody who did something to somebody, and you haven't done anything to any of these people. When people believe a lie, they're capable of doing things that they wouldn't normally do to someone because they felt like you deserved it. Do you know what I'm saying? But the problem that they began to have is that you did not, in fact, deserve it, and you were not, in fact, who they said you were, and you did not, in fact, do what they said you did. So you were like a little, I'm not trying to paint you as like the perfect person like Jesus the Christ of Nazareth, but you were somebody who had not done the wrong that they were accused of, but you were getting treated like you were. And things started ping ponging and backfiring back onto the ones who lied in the first place and the person or people who were mistreating you based on that lie and the assumptions they had in their head. Now, that caused another problem because it made them want to attack you then. Okay? Because something in their brain was saying, this is because of this person, because they know they were treating you badly. People know right from wrong. They pretend to be stupid, but they're not. They know what they're doing. Okay? Because if they didn't know, they wouldn't continue. They wouldn't push forward. Like if it were an accident, it would not continue. It would be like, oh, I hurt him. Let me back off and try something else. But instead, they kept digging in further. They kept pushing it further, and that's how you know it was on purpose and they knew what they were doing. Okay? When they saw you upset, they may have seen you cry if you're a crier. If they saw you angry directly after what they said and did to you, and they repeated it again the following week, the next day, oh honey, it was on purpose. I mean, duh. But listen, man, some people, it wasn't what they heard about you, it was their assumptions based on your outside demeanor and character. In other words, if you seem to be ghetto to me, or if you seem to be bougie to me, I'm gonna assume that you have this set of qualities and characteristics, and that I could treat you a certain way because this is who you are. Like they have a caricature in their mind, and they try to treat you according to the caricature they have in their mind, not get to know actually you, not actually ask you questions, not actually watch your actions specifically and get a good idea of who you actually are in real life. And because they did that, they kept being wrong. They kept assuming wrong. And then they didn't know what to do after that. But you could tell that's when people get separated. The good people from the bad people, the wheat from the tares, because a good person, when they realize their assumption was wrong, they will adjust their actions. A bad person will say, no, I wanted to believe this and I wanted to attack him, so I'm going to continue this for as long as they let me. And I'm just like, oh, wow. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, a good tree always bears good fruit in some kind of way, shape, or form. It can't bear bad fruit. A bad tree, conversely, does not bear good fruit. No matter how well, it's masked or how well it is presented, eventually what's in that tree will produce what's in that tree. You know what I'm saying? And I don't actually think I need to tell you that, but I think that is the good word for today, so you can understand who you're dealing with. But this is confirmation for somebody that, yes, they knew what they were doing, because they kept repeating it over and over after seeing your reaction. And no, you didn't warrant some of that bad treatment. It was what they heard about you and what they assumed about you that wasn't even correct, that caused them to treat you like that. And they have to pay for it, or have already had to pay for it. So there's nothing for you to actually do. You can go about your day and live your life, honey. Bless you. Bless your Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom. Peace and blessings. Bye.